Bill, Will, and John are excited to present their DXpedition to Christmas Island. Bill had wanted to try a DXpedition for many years, and when his two sons agreed to join him, he started planning. Bill decided to go to Kiribati, also known as Christmas Island. He chose this location because of its remote area, but it's still relatively easy to get to, with Fiji Airlines flying there once a week. The Republic of Kiribati is made up of 33 coral atolls that stretch 2,000 miles east to west. Christmas Island is on the far east side, due south of Hawaii. It started July 4th, 2014 at Will's house in Leech Lake in Minnesota. All of the testing of their equipment was performed at Will's house in Leech Lake. Bill spent more than a year purchasing and acquiring equipment to have it shipped from Hawaii, where he lives, to Leech Lake for a test run. It took multiple phone calls and emails to the Communications Commission of Kiribati to secure the amateur radio license. Tango 32 Delta X-ray was assigned to them on February 13, 2015. After testing and packing was complete, all of it went back to Hawaii and sat in Bill's living room until the big day. Will and John joined up with Bill in Hawaii and left for Christmas Island on October 27, 2015. In Hawaii, while boarding Fiji Airlines, Bill's careful planning and packing paid off, as they did not have to repack any luggage. Of course, the most important thing to see was the equipment getting loaded. They crossed the date line while they were flying, and they arrived on Wednesday, the 28th of October in 2015. Now the fun begins. The Kiribati Customs area was small but efficient, and they were able to purchase their scuba diving license and fishing license there. The Christmas Island International Airport doesn't require much equipment to support the one flight a week schedule. The 4-mile trip from the airport to the Captain Cook Hotel took about 15 minutes. They were now 144 miles north of the equator, and the sun was intense but welcoming, especially to Will and John coming from Minnesota. They passed through one of the older villages on the island, the village of Banana. The staff of the Captain Cook Hotel welcomed them and brought them to their bungalows. The bungalows were roomy. John and Will shared one, while Bill shared his with the radios. Air conditioning in the bungalow rooms was an unexpected luxury. Bill decided to use 2 small, low-powered portable radios. They used a quarter-wave vertical antenna and a vertical dipole antenna. The 2 antennas did very well and were about 200 feet apart. The quarter-wave vertical remained tuned to 20 meters, while the vertical dipole was tuned to 12 meters. 12 meters was open almost all the time during daylight. 20 meters did best from about 1 hour before sunrise and closing about 2 hours later, opening again about 2 hours before sunset, going well into the evening. Because they were low-power stations, CW was the most successful. When 20 meters would fade, they then went to JT965 and were quite successful with that mode. They were operating the radios for 15 hours a day over 4 days, and other time was spent exploring the island and the waters around it. Most nights they were the only 3 guests in the hotel restaurant.
I'll be there for you.
The food was great. Even though the staff did not speak much English, they made Bill, Will, and John feel right at home. The hotel staff surprised Bill with an early birthday party, singing happy birthday in English and Gilbertese. They had 3 nights of music, singing, and dancing in the hotel lounge put on by local talents. Even Bill, who lives in Hawaii, had to admit that this was some of the best hula dancing he had ever seen. It was very hot. Night temps dropped to a low of 80 degrees Fahrenheit and daytime temperatures around 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit with a humidity of 85%. So it felt like 100 degrees all of the time. It didn't encourage much daytime activity, and huge thunderstorms were present all the time but very localized. They had 85% sunshine and light winds varying around 5 miles per hour depending on the position of the thunder cells around them. Christmas Island is known for their bird sanctuaries and their bonefish fishing. Will and John went fishing and caught some bonefish, blue trevally, and queenfish. The large variety and color of the fish and coral made for some spectacular diving for John. It would take around 1.5 hours to travel 20 miles for visits to other parts of the island. Roads were very poor, and sometimes they were driving in 2 feet of water. The hotel CEO treated them to a great picnic lunch featuring local favorites such as barbecue chicken, rice, local breads, and of course, fresh coconut water. While exploring the island, they found some relics from the extensive atomic bomb testing done in the 1950s and 60s. One of the reasons Bill chose the Captain Cook Hotel was because the hotel had its own generator. Bill, Will, and John agreed that their DXpedition was a huge success, with over 3,000 contacts made in over 90 countries, all in only 4 days of operation. After everything was packed up, they spent the rest of the last day on the beach. On the flight back to Hawaii, they flew over Pearl Harbor, where Bill volunteers once a week on the Missouri. Aloha in 73s. Bill, Kilo Hotel 6 Oscar Oscar. Will, Whiskey 0 Zulu Romeo Juliet. John, November 0 Papa Juliet Victor. DXpedition to Christmas Island.